Can't start off a good hunt without a good breakfast. Boys, you ready to hunt today?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Don't sound so excited.
Yeah, we're
Pumped.
pumped up.
All right, it's about 6:45. Beautiful morning. About 4 inches of snow came down last night. Deer are gonna be moving. We're heading out to a elevated blind. We're excited for this gun hunt out here in Pennsylvania.
Well, it's tough because I can't really pinch it up higher.
So you need a taller right now? You can also flip
if
it
I'm
back.
going for the 500,
Okay, there, try that.
500 yards, that'd be perfect.
You just never can be in a rush with a long range shot.
Yeah. Where's the safety? How do I?
The safety's right here. So that's full safe. That's half safe.
That's
It's
fine.
right in the middle. And then fire is all the way forward. So that's ready to fire there. So I'll take it back.
Yeah.
So that's half safe right there.
Should I put it back to full? Or?
Yeah, you put it back to full if you want. Yeah.
Yeah. And if they're,
still need it higher?
you know where that tree line is? If they're at that tree line, Dr. Jared, I'll just shoot like this.
What's that? Well, here, we got lots of bags. So if you want it taller, we can do this. Does that get you there? See if that does it.
Oh, that definitely gets me there.
Room service too.
What's that?
Room service
There is. Pizza delivers here.
All right.
Hey guys, Jeremiah here. This is our farm in Erie County, Pennsylvania. It's the first farm we bought. It's where we live, and as you can see, we're in a little bit of an elaborate hunting tower. But we've been managing the farm for 13 years now for deer. As you can see, we've got some. We'll show you. We've got some corn and beans that we're hunting over right now, but we've got a handful of shooters on camera. So a couple 4-year-olds we think, and then a handful of 2 or 3 3-year-olds. That's what we're after today, hopefully for Kai. And of course, we want to do our thing with the does as well, so we could take a few more does off the property. Would be a good idea. So we're ready. We're set up. Do some long range shooting if that's what it takes. We've got some guns that are dialed in, and we know what we're doing there. So
What's the range we can shoot today?
today, the farthest shot would be like 550, 575, which we routinely practice. So we've got a range set up at a good backstop set up at 500 yards that we and the kids we always plink at. So I think everyone knows what they're doing. As long as we've got a good read on the wind and a good steady rest, we'll see what happens. He's about 300 yards out. There you go. We have to be quick. Yeah, you got it. Shoot.
They're right on the edge. How you got the one? They're gonna cross over. Coming this way.
Are they?
Yep, they're coming this
Oh
way.
shoot, there's another one.
Huh?
There's another one running.
That's
It's
a buck. It's a
It's a buck chasing him.
fork.
He just chased him right into the woods. Shoot. That was 500 yards, man. We could have, if they weren't running, Kai, I would have let you shoot that at 500. But we just didn't have enough time to
They'll
get
fall
set
back.
up. They'll be back. So when you start to consider what it takes to make a long range shot, you need to learn a little bit about ballistics and what bullets do when they leave the barrel. So I think a lot of guys and a lot of old military personnel are still using mil dots, a mil dot system, but we use MOA, which stands for minute of angle. in a circle there's 360 degrees. And if you take 1 degree and split it up 60 more times, that's called 1 minute. So a minute of an angle is 1/60th of 1 degree. And so we make our calculations based on those angles and distances. So, for example, for this gun, this is a gun that was built by Sean Carlock from Defensive Edge. It's a 338 Edge. Has extremely good ballistics. It's definitely a long-range caliber capable of ethically taking game out to 1,000 yards and beyond. So if you guys can see, this is looking through a Vortex Razor HD scope, and you can see this is what's called a first focal plane reticle, which means that the subtensions on that scope that you see, those little hash marks, those are all consistent in minute of angle. The subtension is all consistent regardless of what power the scope is on. So if you look close, you'll see, even for windage and for elevation, you'll see all 1 minute of angle hash marks, which helps out if you don't have time to dial your scope. It's also pretty useful as a range estimating tool. There's a little formula for that. If you know the size of the object you're shooting, you can get pretty close. You take the size of your object. If it's a known size, like let's say a white-tailed deer is 40 inches high at the shoulder. So what you do is you would take 40 inches, multiply that by 95.5, and then divide that by however many minutes of angle the object takes up in the scope. And that would get you pretty close as to how many yards it is. But we like to use rangefinders to be sure, but I guess if you were in a tactical or military application and you had to do your best in the field, you could always do that. But for hunting purposes, we depend on the Leica range masters to tell us what our yardage is.